Hi, and welcome to the Success Path Show, where Christian business owners share their tips for success to show you how to succeed more effectively with your kingdom goals. I'm your host, Violet Detre, and I have an amazing guest today. I'm so honored to have Caleb Kid Coy. And Caleb is an international speaker and writer, a social media influencer, a passion and purpose coach, as well as a podcast host. As a husband, father, entrepreneur, and mentor, he finds great joy in serving others. He encourages people to think independently, grow exponentially, transform internally, and to succeed while overcoming adversity in all aspects of life. Before we were talking, Caleb and I asked him, well, what's your title? And he gave me the title Legacy Hero Consultant. But Caleb, tell me a little bit about that. You say you don't like titles.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of titles. I'm a huge fan of people and who they are in their character. So as someone who spent time life coaching in the entertainment industry, I got to work with some of my rock star heroes who are very gifted and talented people, but aren't necessarily very nice or don't necessarily have a lot of character and or integrity. So I'm just not big on titles because I believe it comes down to who are we, and you don't need a title to tell somebody who you are. But I said if I could pick one, it would be Legacy Hero Consultant, because I love making people heroes of their family legacies and the communities and the nonprofits they care about and support. So,
And it sounds like a powerful title. So, Caleb, tell us a little bit about yourself, share with the audience.
sure, love to share my story with you guys so you can learn a little bit more about me and get to know me. And first of all, I want to say thank you so much, Violet, for this opportunity and for your gracious invitation to come on your program. And I truly hope that I can bring some value and impact to your community. Is this
Yes.
it? Is this all there is? Has it really come to this? I laid there wondering how my family would remember me if I didn't make it, what my friends might think. I felt helpless, completely powerless over my own life and body. The house was empty. Mom and dad were out of town again, and that means it's party time. Woohoo! But I'd barely eaten or slept in over a week, and to top it off, the combination of alcohol, weed, and meth was proving to be more than my body could handle. All of a sudden, my heart starts to feel like it's beating out of my chest, and the pain is so unbearable that I knew something was wrong. So a friend rushes me to the hospital, and now here I am, hanging onto life by a thread. Is this it? Is this all there is? While in and out of consciousness, the sound around me fades away and time stands still. Then something profound happens. The panic and the fear and the terror I feel is suddenly overshadowed by peace. And what I experienced next forever changed the course of my life. Now, I grew up a sheltered, small town Wyoming preacher's kid with big hopes and dreams of being a famous musician. So watching those dreams shatter while my life comes to a crashing halt in that emergency room due to a drug overdose was not the way it was supposed to go. So lying there, I had this epic encounter with indescribable love that shifted my heart and perspective. And I knew it was get better or die. And I survived with a full recovery, and that experience gave me clarity to take action about living a life of impact and meaning. This is our legacy we're talking about, and I believe it's worth prioritizing. It's worth protecting. And whether we're prepared or not, someday our legacy will be passed down to our family, and it can be a smooth or a burdensome process. And this is where I get to step in. I'm Caleb Kid Coy, and after surviving my near-death experience, I realized I'd been given a second chance I could use to serve others. I made the choice to spend my life challenging, inspiring, encouraging, and empowering others to rise up, confront their fears, and gain victory over their adversities. And as a legacy hero consultant, I've had the privilege of helping people protect their legacy, avoid a legal mess, secure their estate, grow their assets, and establish the freedom of a financial future. And I love watching folks become heroes to their families and community while raising revenue for the nonprofits they care about and support. Along with the material possessions, it's important to me that your core values, the things that are most precious to you, are also passed on so you can be remembered in the way you want to be remembered. So over the next few minutes, I'm going to share a few steps and how we provide you with the tools to do just that. Now, one of the most common questions I get is, Caleb, can you help me avoid probate with a trust? The answer is yes. Whether you're someone who has a lot of assets you've accumulated over time or someone with just a few that you want to pass on to your heirs with ease, or you want to learn more about safe ways you can grow your resources over time, then my services are for you. Now, the first step in that process is education, and most people don't realize that with or without a will, their estates are going through probate, and a will is just a first-class ticket. Sure, you've stated your intentions, but your family is getting dragged into this horrific experience, rife with delays, and the cost is open-ended and eats away at what you left them. Now, living trust is a solution because it replaces the costly, time-consuming requirement for probate court to distribute your assets to loved ones. However, getting one hasn't exactly been user-friendly, but our process changes that. And everyone else has been telling you that setting up a trust is too complicated and time-consuming. I'm telling you it doesn't have to be. You've probably heard it's only necessary for the super wealthy. I'm telling you it can benefit almost anyone. Maybe you've been listening to the wrong person. So we specialize in digital estate planning technology that creates trust documents. And for 36 years, we've been the back office for estate planning attorneys who fronted the process. And today we offer our services direct to consumers and nonprofits. By leveraging technology, we've replaced the traditional brick and mortar model of getting a trust. When implemented correctly, it can be 90% completed in 90 minutes in a quick and efficient manner. Now, next step is to create your trust on our platform by capturing the answers to simple questions about your estate and who you want to pass your legacy on to, followed by an electronic submission to set up your profile. You're then scheduled to speak with our specialists, including an attorney who's already embedded into the process to customize, implement your trust, and attach your assets to it, all without leaving the comfort and privacy of your home. So you can imagine how seniors love our system for its ease and others for the control it gives them. But what sets us apart is a streamlined system with the constant access to make updates or changes anytime you want. So picture a day when you wake up with all your affairs in order. Picture a day when your child comes up to you and says, "I'm so grateful you removed the worry and stress to make our lives easier, Mom and Dad." Picture a day when you'll accomplish something that provides you with peace of mind, the assurance that when you're gone, your legacy will pass unhindered to those you love the most. And finally, we'll go the extra mile by reviewing your estate and finding strategies. We'll show you ways to both establish, grow your retirement accounts in confidence using effective and unique wealth building tools and products. What that means for you is continuous income streams and a financial safety net to insulate and preserve generational wealth, even during times of economic volatility and market slumps. Now, it's important to us that you're able to accumulate enough to enjoy life's wonders during retirement, but still leave a generous inheritance to loved ones and the causes that matter to you. Being able to automate your savings and retirement so what you work so hard to provide your family with gets to begin working for you, it's invaluable. So recent global events only reaffirm how important it is to plan and prepare today, that there's a window of opportunity to take action now before your family faces probate or an unplanned medical emergency. You may be thinking about it all wrong. You might be thinking tomorrow's a given and you can just get it done later. You should be thinking that tomorrow is not guaranteed and now is the time to take care of what matters most. And the cost of getting this done is minor in comparison to the price of doing nothing and waiting until it's too late. The only thing worse than the pain of procrastination is the agony of regret. In times of uncertainty, we don't want to be caught off guard. If something unexpected were to happen to your family, healthcare documents can be the last line of defense among some of the worst case possible scenarios. For medical crisis protection, our trust portfolio includes an advanced medical directive with medical power of attorney. And so I probably don't need to tell you that entire estates have been drawn down by artificial life support, and without the proper paperwork, our HIPAA laws can hinder others being involved in the decision-making of family members during a medical emergency. So as a parent or a child, what that means is you're unable to speak for yourself. Having them in place empowers the rights of the people who care about you to have a say in the potential outcome. So for a limited time, my gift to you is a free healthcare document set. It's a $300 value, and you can head over to calebkidcoy.com/free gift and just follow those prompts. So let me leave you with this. I started out this talk today by telling you about how I almost met a premature end. When I left that hospital, I was helpless, clinging onto life by the skin of my teeth, thinking, "Is this it, Caleb?" I went home and slept for what felt like days straight. I recall wondering if I would ever escape that zombie state of mind. if I'd ever feel whole again. Some areas it took months and others years, but eventually I did. Through changes in my lifestyle, my habits, and my health, I proactively made the necessary adjustments. And it can take a lot of discipline to get our lives back on a healthy track. And usually all we need is someone who cares to bring guidance and support and a little nudge in the right direction to make it happen. Loved ones left to frantically search for answers on their own can end up in troubled waters. So in the midst of life's challenges, Violet, I knew I had a choice: hide from the problem or find the solution. When it comes to your life and family, you have a choice. Take the hard route, struggle to figure it out on your own, or let someone just like you, who understands, who has been where you are, guide you in taking the right action steps. So with courage and grace, I took back control of my own life so that I could help others take back control of theirs. Instead of becoming the self-centered rock star I initially thought I wanted to be, someone who may have left behind a legacy of drug addiction and nasty, rotten habits, something far greater transpired. I was transformed into a man of purpose, fueled by compassion, focused on integrity, and centered in gratitude. My lifelong legacy journey helped build thick rhino hide skin and forge true character within me. Now I'm living proof that by being consistently faithful in the little things, a life can be rebuilt and a legacy can be created. So hopefully it won't take a near-death experience to wake you up about the vital importance of securing your legacy, your family's future. It represents the love and the blood and the sweat and the tears of your entire life. It's in the way you live, the way you give, and how you serve those you love. That's your legacy, but it's up to you to make sure it endures. And I hope you will. Thank you. So
Thank you
that's
for
my story,
sharing.
and I'm sticking
You're
to it,
sticking to
Violet.
it. Thank you so much for sharing. And just so the audience knows, when you go to calebkidcoy.com/free gift, you'll have to scroll a little down, and that's where you'll see the button where you can access that $300 value assessment. So thank you so much for offering that, Caleb.
My
And
pleasure. And kid does have two D's in the middle.
KIDD.
Yeah, you got it.
I like how you said, don't wait until, because sometimes, with health issues, with different things, people do wait and then they end up, with horrible health crises, or like in your case, horrible financial situations and all the struggles that you mentioned. And I know that this topic is really important. So how does this fall into helping business owners succeed, Christian business owners?
That's a great question, Violet. And a lot of it begins with your mindset. And being raised in a family with poverty mindsets and mentalities, we don't realize that once that DNA is embedded into us, how difficult it is to break out of that prison. And I often refer to it as, ultimately the prison is in our mind. The soul, which encompasses the mind, the will, the emotions, and the intellect, it ultimately has the power to transform us to whatever we subject it to the most. I hope people will listen and really hear that there, because what you're taking in, your eye gates, your ear gates, what you immerse yourself in is ultimately who you become and how you think. And for me, Violet, you got to realize I'm dealing with two of the most sensitive areas in people's lives. A lot of people don't like to talk about their money or their mortality, right? Fear of death, fear of loss. Napoleon Hill talked a lot about this in Think and Grow Rich, one of my favorite authors and favorite books of all time. Books like that help to transform my mindset. So for business owners to ultimately become successful, it has to begin from within. That transformation of the soul, the transformation of the mind. And for me, it was self-education, self-empowerment, right? It started by reading books that I was probably, in all honesty, closed-minded to in the past. So number one, I had to have an open mind. I had to become teachable, which in my personal definition is the truest form of humility. It means that you remain teachable at all times, right? Because none of us have it figured out. Nobody on the planet has all the answers for anyone, right? But there is wisdom to be found in our faith, in our relationship with the Creator and someone greater than ourselves, and then the responsibility that we have as human beings to seek the facts, to seek the truth. And this might hurt some people's feelings, but I think a lot of humans by nature are just lazy. Discipline is not something we're necessarily born with. It has to be built, it has to be acquired. And in order to find out the facts, to find out the truth, we have to study to show ourselves approved. And that means due diligence. That means research. That means getting off our assets and taking action, right, to find out the facts, not listening to what everybody's got to say. And that goes for the preachers behind the pulpit too, right? We're not just supposed to take what our favorite entrepreneurs and mentors and preachers say as the truth. We're expected to be responsible humans and to seek that for ourselves. And I know for me, Violet, that's meant a lot of years of research, of the study of etymology, which is the origin of our language, getting back to the root of things. I'm also a student of international law. And these things have literally transformed my mindset, my perspective, the way I look at the world, the way I deal with people, because in so many ways, we're not properly trained. Your public education system isn't teaching you what you need to know to empower you with the proper foundation. And so I often say, in order to properly relearn with the right information, we have to unlearn the wrong information. Before we can reprogram this brain of ours, we have to deprogram first. So that's actually the more challenging part, is the deprogramming process. And I like to refer to it as, this matrix reality that we're trapped in. For a lot of people, their perspective of it is not accurate. And so we gotta get down to the roots. We have to deprogram the false errant information, a lot of it which has been embedded to us since childhood, since children. And so that's why you find a lot of adults that, they're not necessarily willing to change and grow, or we hear the term, right? They're stuck in their ways because they're not willing to deprogram. But people who are, I have found they acquire such an open mind and become more teachable, become more trainable, and therefore become more empowered to be able to help others, go down that path, which it's not easy. I realize it takes a strength and a resilience that most people aren't just willing to do. And so, I graciously accept that. I realize when I've run into someone who's just not going to do that, that's okay. I'm going to love them right where they're at, but that's not where I'm going. I'm on a continual progressive journey of learning, of growing, of changing. I don't want to be the same person I was yesterday, Violet. So what are we doing as adults, as entrepreneurs, to transform every single day? And it doesn't mean it's gigantic steps. Sometimes it's the little things. Sometimes it's the discipline of, getting up before the rest of the family. As a dad of 3 and with a baby boy of 4 months who we were talking about, would have been great to bring Axel on camera. He's something else. I lost my morning routine as I knew it when he came along. And so a lot of times what we do, my wife and I, so that she can go back and get some rest, is I'm up early with the kiddos. And so that either means getting up earlier than before because they're already up early to do my thing, or I found ways to pivot and implement some of my routine with them, right? So that I get my time in, that I get my discipline. I love to work out in the morning. My daughter's learning that, you want to hang out, have fun. She brings her toys. She brings her dinos in. We turn on the music. Daddy's doing his sets. So, I think it's so easy to give up, right? When we get thrown a curveball in our routine. We've heard of like The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod and books like that just tell us the importance of creating a morning routine. And my personality, right, is I'm hardcore, high energy, first thing in the morning. That's where my focus and energy is. But come 7 o'clock at night, Violet, when it's time to do bath for the kiddos and put them down to bed, I'm done. My energy has been maxed out for the entire day. So I'm in bed early and up early and do it again. And some people are productive at night, but find ways that you can be the most productive. And when you get thrown a curveball in your schedule, find a way to make a pivot, work around it, and still be able to create a routine.
I love that you're saying that. And, I follow Caleb, so I know that, he has that compassion. He is, he does practice humility. He is a family man. He does And I'm glad that you've been able to balance the work environment and your home environment, making mama happy and babies happy. And I guess my question to you, because you have done amazing in business during the pandemic, and those are the types of guest speakers that we have on this show. Uh, what is your secret to thriving even during challenging times? And how can you encourage those people that maybe have thrown in the towel and lost a lot of money and are really in a down state right now regarding their business?
That's such a wonderful question, Violet. And the first thing I would say is perseverance. You have to have this tool in your tool belt. And I know that, and I didn't even realize it to the fullest until over recent years, but, there's a resilience within me. And I call it the warrior DNA that God has given me, because I've been beat down. I've gone through a lot of crap in my life, a lot of it very, very painful, that would have been easy to step aside and or, as I like to say, walk away from the front lines of the battlefield.
Mm.
But I realized that God had given me that strength and that courage to be a warrior who remains on the front lines, to persevere through, and to be resilient in the midst of adversity. So take those challenges and look for opportunities on how you can learn and grow from them. And that success, it doesn't happen overnight. And yes, the past year has been, from a business standpoint, one of the most powerful, transformative, and successful for my entire life. And I think a lot of that has to do with positioning. To everything, there's a time and a season. And the farther that we're wanting to go and grow, I'm personally convinced the more crap that we're going to have to go through. I think our character, depending on who we are and what we're called to do and who we're called to be, is going to be tried to different levels and different degrees. And who I'm called to be is not who you're called to be, or who someone else is called to be. And my mission and my purpose is something that I can only find for myself, from within myself. And so when I realized that, I was able to start looking at the challenges and the adversities and the obstacles that were thrown my way is actually a training ground, as an
Mm.
opportunity, like a gladiator, to train for the arena. And so this is what I tell people. This is like, get off your duff and get in the arena. I mean, procrastination, we always hear idleness is the devil's workshop. It is. Um,
Mm.
I've learned it for me that, when I pull back and I sit there and I'm unproductive, that's when weakness steps in. That's when temptation can step in. And so I'm not called to be idle. I'm not called to be quiet. I remember a time, Violet, where I was just like, I just want to be a good little guy and be a family man. And, after years of traveling and putting myself out there, but after a certain amount of times, and it was many, many months, I felt like I was dying inside, because that
Mm.
wasn't who God had called me to be. He had called me to be a voice to this generation, and to speak out against the apathy and the complacency and the lukewarmness and the indifference that has just plagued our society, especially since this, crisis hit in the spring of last year, right? It's just,
Mm.
you see the fear, and you see a lot of it coming from disinformation and misinformation propaganda. And that's why I said it has never been more important to take the time to research and to educate and do due diligence. And you're talking to a guy who didn't go to college. I don't have a bunch of degrees, but I researched. I took the time, years and years and years, to study. And I've had attorneys tell me more that I know more than most attorneys out there, that I know
Mm.
more than estate planning attorneys, that, what I know about international law now is just something, in my opinion, that should be being taught in the public education system. But nobody's going to teach this to you, and they don't teach it to you in university either.
I hear the gang in the
Yeah, the
background.
gang's it just got a little wild back there.
a little while. Well,
Caught me by
had
surprise too.
I had one more question before we wrap
Sure,
up.
sure.
There's a lot of probate services out there. What makes yours different? If you can just wrap that up in about a minute.
Yeah, we're all about helping people avoid probate. And one of our chief counsel attorneys was formerly a probate attorney, and she just got tired of seeing families suffer and what they were going through. And she said, so, she found us and said, what you guys are doing, I want to be a part of this. And so rescuing people from probate, getting their money out of the legal system. I mean, why give the government 40% when you can keep 100% of what you've worked so hard for and pass it on to your children? And so that's, what we do is very different. And what we have in the technology, giving people 24/7 access to it, is just game changer. So a few clicks of the button, they can make those updates when they want. They don't have to go back to the attorney and pay a ridiculous fee to do that. So what we have is game changer, and I'm just so grateful to be a part of it, to serve others, Violet.
Yeah, I'm so glad you're sharing it with us. So please follow Caleb, and this is going to be interesting because the social media handle that he gave me is Metalpreneur. So I guess that goes back to you wanting to be that musician.
Yep, that's my heart and love for metal music.
So on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, the handle is Metalpreneur. We'll put all of Caleb's links down below. Please follow him, get that assessment. That's an amazing value. And if you want more episodes like this, please like this episode and subscribe. We thank you for being here, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye, everyone. Thank you,
God
Violet.
bless.